Hey you, so on this video, should you buy property or gold and silver, precious metals? This video basically came about from the video I released before this one yesterday. And it was a comment from a long time subscriber. I believe it's Lil Stacking, if I'm not mistaken, Lil Stacking. And, you know, I was going to reply to his comment. I have left a reply, but I thought I'd also do a short video on this topic and just bring up one of the main points or issues I've seen and I'll go into as I break over this video. So it's basically about the benefits from where we are right now in time and what is the better buy for an individual. Should you purchase property or should you purchase precious metals? Now, I own both, and plus and some, but what Lil Stacking was basically stating is that, from what I took from what he said, is that he's been involved in metals and he's in a new job position, and he's now with an employee where it's a family run business, and he's noticed, I'd done a video on this before and it was the discipline on stacking, and that's a given. You'll find individuals where they don't waste money. For instance, you know, they'll make their food instead of do takeaways, like I said I do on my video when it came down to discipline when stacking precious metals, and just being very mindful of how you spend your money and not wasteful. So because you have it, you just don't. I could afford to go out and buy this, that and that, but I live within my means and I'm content. You know, none of the fancy brands, none of the useless subscriptions and the likes of. When it comes to food, I enjoy literally making my own food and the likes of. And he was mentioning that his employees, which was a family, that was one of the traits that he saw as to why they were successful. And another trait was that they was all invested in properties, so they was all landlords and they all had passive income. The joys of property, i.e. getting the passive income, was one of the reasons. So I don't know from here whether he was contemplating coming out of metals and focusing more on property, or just seeing the difference between the two, the contrast. But this video was titled, you know, what should you buy now, precious metals or property? Purely because there's one thing I wanted to get across to individuals that may know this or not, and it is, I know a lot of individuals that are millionaires from property. You know, I've made a fair handsome amount in property myself. I do have a few properties I sublet. Now, the issue with that right now, when you're in a predicament where you don't know, it's all going to be based on where an individual is. You either have savings right now, or, you know, you're living off a paycheck which you're accumulating and saving, or you're an individual that's may have inherited or been born into money, whether it's your family or partners, or, you know, have something already and you're being handed down something. That also is going to play a large role. But currently, when you'll find individuals that are in the stacking world, it's a predicament where, you know, precious metals don't pay a passive income and the likes of, which is, you know, some say they do in some form of way and some say they don't. You know, regardless, in the end of the month or whenever within a certain period, you don't get a return back. You know, your money sits in it dormant. And this is why some may say property, property, property. Now, as I was mentioning, everybody I know, and these I know individuals, multi-millionaires off of property, and a common phrase, just like in the stacking world, which would be, you know, buy what you like. And I don't dislike it, but I say there is, you know, clauses to it. And individuals in the property land will tell you, look, bricks and mortar, put your money there and it's sound as, you know, it's as simple as that. Put your money in bricks and mortar, you receive a passive income and you're going to be a multi-millionaire. Now, the issue and the reason I basically made this video is that is true to a degree, but it's not the case now. And now you will find, I know, as I was mentioning, individuals that would give that piece of advice to an individual, but the problem I have with this is the same individuals, and even the individuals that Lil Stacking was referring to, if I could speak directly to him, is to ask the question, and myself, I fall into this category as well, is the means of how to acquire the properties when they did get into it is absolutely different now. And it's all going to fall down to the lines of credits that's available to individuals. I know individuals that got 100% mortgages. The most I ever put down was, I believe, 15%. And that was at the tail end of one of the last properties I purchased. And I think it was 210, 211, I believe. you know, and these individuals not knowing at the time. I mean, if I had a time machine, knowing how bad the property would have got, I would have purchased a whole load more properties. You know, nobody knows at the time. Some do, some don't. But at the time, you think it's going to go on forever. I have the mindset that I have now and think, if I'm going to acquire, let me get as many as possible now, and then, you know, I'll take a pause. But if I would have known the price on tripling, doubling on some of the properties that I had, if I would have known they would have done that, I've had opportunities to buy properties adjoining, so 2 properties upstairs and downstairs, and just bought the 1 unit. And this was a time when I was getting down near 85% mortgage, you know. So, and this is with little put in. So for instance, on a 300k mortgage, I'll be putting down 10k. These opportunities do not present themselves now for a long time. So individuals, it's easy for an individual to say bricks and mortar, but the current climate that we're in doesn't permit for a lot of individuals. So individuals in a situation where they now need to put their money, there's pundits out there that will tell you, you know, buy silver, because then you'll be able to buy all the homes, or it's going to be the best buy. I would also say that isn't the case, but it is a possibility. But right now, anybody who got into it, myself, I would not be able to have the properties I have now in the current climate. I wouldn't, and I believe that's the case with damn near everybody I know in property, because in the end of the day, right now, you need money to make money. If you have money, you can acquire the properties. That's not going to be an issue. Getting the credit is damn near the biggest hurdle now. They're just not giving it out. I mean, the only thing I'd get easy, you know, blink of an eye credit for now is a mobile phone or something along them lines. Once upon a time, you know, the amount I had just off of credit cards was phenomenal. You know, I've had a major credit card. I've had, you know, a few late payments on a credit line of 20k. I believe I had like £500 out on it max. Not only did they cut my line of credit in half, the card eventually got cancelled. They pulled the plug, and we're talking, I had 10k credit. I believe on credit used, it was £500 and a late payment, not even and it was purely I forgot. And these, at the same card I'm referring to, at one point, you know, I was buying luxury watches on. So the lines of credit have just become dwindled to nothing, you know, and maybe you need to have more money, but a lot of the opportunities came for individuals generations before me because it was so much easier. Prices of properties also was in line with the wages at the time and the economy at the time. Everything now is overinflated. So looking at that, what is the better buy? I personally wouldn't get into property now for making passive income, because it takes so much to get in. And if you have the time to, you know, build up the large deposit needed, you'll need like 85%. I've heard individuals get quoted for decent properties. Of course, you can go further out into the sticks, wherever you are, into the suburbs, and they become options then. But then, you know, you're looking at a rental. If you're looking to stay in the area that you're in, it could just be a whole cheaper cost of living wherever you are. It's different from location to location. But currently, the only thing you could do if you're in a fortunate enough position is, and you're blowing a load of cash on rent, is find the right place as far out, as cheap as possible, to just get your own roof over your head. There's not a lot of individuals I know, I'd say close to none, and I know individuals where property is their bread and butter, that are actually acquiring properties now because it just doesn't add up. So properties right now ain't the best thing. This is just my own opinion, of course, but also a lot of individuals, and I've had this conversation with them at the same time also, you know, individuals where their kids are going to be comfortable from. I know individuals with over 50 properties in central London alone, and now they was able to build this portfolio in the times where credit was readily available and properties were cheap, you know. And I'm one of these individuals that gained from that, but I would never be able to have what I have right now. So where does that leave us? Is gold and silver a better play? It's not in a bubble, as you know, many pundits out there say. Can it go lower? Depending on how you're viewing it, you know, you're looking at the angle where you see an opportunity where it's going to shoot up in price, it can be a good play, you know. Whereas with property right now, to get in for the passive income, you know, make a certain amount, I would say an individual needs to be in a comfortable enough position where they have the excess funds to put into the property and then get that stream coming in from there. I know individuals in comfortable positions that don't even look at that, you know. for who we are and when we are, I've seen better opportunities in other arenas. You know, we're not going to talk about certain things, but you know, they don't pay a passive income, but they offer better returns in the long run if you play your cards right and do your own research. So property once upon a time was the best thing since sliced bread, and I believe it still is. I will 100% be getting back into property. A good portion of my metals will get liquidated to go further and deeper back into property, just from what I know. You know, I was there for the beginning. First property was purchased in the early 2000s. I didn't take full advantage of it. You know, who did? Some knew, some didn't. And, you know, I'm here now where it's not as easy at all. We all know that the current condition of individuals like ourselves watching this don't act to help our kids, you know, and our loved ones. They don't stand a chance in hell, because, and that's no secret, even if we had a bubble crash tomorrow, they wouldn't be in a situation to have acquired the funds, you know, because, you know, people are overqualified for job positions or just not getting these jobs. But I think the opportunities in property right now to put yourself in a comfortable position where you can, for instance, scoop up 3 properties in 6 months and then start subletting them when the market gets stronger, then you're making a comfortable passive income. You got the property cheap, it's doubled in price, and you know, you're then taking full advantage of it. But there's a lot of individuals that, and this is the main purpose of this video, that put that information out there, how important it is to get a passive income from property and, you know, bricks and mortars where you want to put your money. And I know many individuals, as I've mentioned, that live by that phrase and saying to individuals. But it's one thing to remember is it's a whole different climate as to when those types of individuals got in and to where it is now. So I just wanted to put that video out there and see what individuals' thoughts on it are. Are you into property and think it's a much better investment than precious metals? Of course it is in the long run. Prices ain't as, you know, crazily manipulated in hard, you know, bricks and mortar, hard walled buildings as they are in metals. But I believe there's a time to get in. There was a fantastic opportunity for the generations before me, and all those that took advantage of it now have left their siblings in better positions. I took advantage of it, but when it comes up again, as I believe it will, that will be the time when individuals really can benefit. But for now, I'm putting more into other ventures, including gold and silver. I don't look at it like, you know, what this ounce here or 2 ounces is going to buy me a condo or a, you know, masonette or anything of the likes of, but I do see the opportunities here. And that's the thing, it's all about taking advantage of the opportunities. Right now, I wouldn't say property is a fantastic buy depending on where you live on the planet. Of course, I'm speaking from an individual in the UK on London properties, but I know individuals all across the UK. There are decent prices, but places that once upon a time, I'd say at the beginning of the year, were good buys have now jumped up in price. So I think now isn't the time. And when you're listening to an individual or seeing individuals that are landlords, or, you know, I know individuals that don't work, they've lost more money in, you know, ventures that they could afford to, you know, play about in because they're comfortable from the property investments that their parents got into, you know, but themselves couldn't be in that same situation right now because of where we are. So property is fantastic, but it's all about getting in at the right time. It's easy to say, you know, get as many rental properties as possible and go in. But for an individual looking just to rent and, you know, purchase to get out of rent, of course, any time's going to be the best time, because you're losing money from one end and it's going into an empty hole. You know, I know individuals in the same situation now that can't even get something that once upon a time had something. But it'd be interesting to hear what you guys' views are on that. You know, are you into property, or are you waiting for, you know, some type of a crash where you can gain from a little rise in metals and then get into property when the market is a lot less inflated than it is now? So it'd be great to hear what individuals' thoughts are on whether property or precious metals are the best buy right now. So hey, I love it, guys. It'd be fantastic to know what you think of this video. Go ahead and subscribe if you haven't done so already, and I'll catch you guys on the rebound.